Ben and Brian, I want to start out with you guys and kind of why you wanted to create this.
Yeah, sure. It's good. So the show is an adaptation, actually. It's based on a original series from Spain called Gran Hotel. That series it's wonderful. It's also a period piece. It's set at the turn of the century in Spain, and ABC knew they wanted to do that as a contemporary piece. So when Ben and Eva Longoria approached me about it to adapt and write, I had this feeling like everything is so crazy in the world. Everything is the news is just, I feel like audiences are battered right now. So the intention with this show was to just give people a vacation, to have a show that feels fun and like you're literally on vacation. You're on a beach, you're in this gorgeous place, lots of wish fulfillment and joy and humor and just a fun ride. So that's
hot bodies.
Yeah.
Less clothing than the original.
Yeah. Seriously, so many attractive people. It's insane. What was it about Miami that drew you to that?
Well, I'm actually from Miami.
Nice.
So yeah.
That's what you were like, I know, it's perfect.
I mean, it was great to be able to film. So that you just saw, the pilot is filmed. It's at the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami, which is sort of the hotel I had in mind when I was writing it. It's this very historic hotel. Frank Sinatra really did play there in the 50s and 60s, and basically it was just this wildly sexy location that we got to go to. And also Miami, the #1 industry of Florida is tourism. Hotels are sort of a way of life. The hotels on Miami Beach, if you've ever been, they're just so specific. There's like 4 or 5 of them they're all designed by the same architect. They have this Miami modern look right now at the time it was crazy modern, but now it's really retro. There's all these rounded, everything is circular and round and glam, and there was nowhere else that really felt like the hotel was going to be such a specific character.
Definitely. And it definitely is a character, and Miami is a character, I would say, just as much as the rest of it, which is awesome to see. Roselyn, I want to ask you about Gigi and her intense way, her style of being pretty intense, I would say. That's not a bad thing. Don't apologize for that.
It's good intense.
Absolutely. What can you kind of say about like what makes her happiest day to day, and what
makes Gigi happy?
Yeah.
Nothing. No. No, I shouldn't say that. I love Gigi. Family makes her happy. Santiago Mendoza, her husband, makes her happy. Her kids make her happy. It's just that she's a very complex character, and if you give the series a chance, and I hope you all do, that you liked it enough to continue watching the 13 episodes, a lot of things are explained. A lot of things of why she behaves the way she behaves are going to be explained, so don't judge her yet. Don't judge her. But it was a really fun, confusing character for me to tackle. And as an actress, that was like an amazing, delicious task. And, to be able to read material and go, oh my God, like what is she thinking? And I love her sense of family. She will do anything for her family. That's why she's so serious.
I love it. And why, for Lincoln and Arielle, why did you guys what drew you to it?
Hi. For me, the duality of Danny. So you don't really know when he's being authentic or when he's got other plans for everyone at the hotel, which is obviously revealed at the end of the first episode and keeps being revealed later on. So for me, it was kind of playing that fine line of, sincerity, but also he might be using everyone to get what he needs. And so that kind of whole motivation, intrigue really interested me. The other thing that Brian and Ben and Eva and the whole creative team have done so well is that this show is about a lot of things, but one of the most interesting things for me over the 13 episodes is you see people will come to this hotel with their own intentions, their own, motivations, and then something will come in from left field and those priorities will have to change. They'll have to choose between family or career or a lot of other things, which I can't go into, but it's just, it's really interesting because, we all have those things happen in our lives where we're like, I don't know what's more important. And sometimes you have to balance both. Sometimes you have to let go one that you don't want to, and yeah, I found that really interesting to play with.
In case you guys didn't notice, Lincoln talks a little differently than Danny does on the show.
Sorry if you can't understand me right now.
We joked in the writers' room a lot that at the end when he was
I'm actually an Aussie.
can't talk when I'm here.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Everyone's like, never do that again, ever.
Arielle, what about you?
Well, I mean, it's such a fun character. There was a couple things. The first was when they sent it to me, I knew Ben was producing it, and I've known Ben for years. He was working with Betty Thomas when we did John Tucker Must Die. So yes, yes. And actually, that's where I met Caitlin, who is one of the founders of this very festival. So this is a very cool full circle moment. But so that immediately perked my ears up. And then I read the sides, and because I don't think I was even given the script to audition. I think I just had the sides, and whenever that happens, I'm always intrigued by the mystery, because I'm like, what is it about it that they're not going to give me the script? Okay, but also it gave me a lot of freedom to play, and I had actually just been through some pretty traumatic things in my own personal life, and I didn't know if I was actually ready to be in front of the camera again. And I read the script and I thought, you know what? This is going to give me a creative outlet. And even though my character, as you saw, we don't know what's happened to her. We don't even know if she's dead or alive. And as Roselyn said, as the series goes on, every episode more and more is revealed, not just with my character, but with every character. And I felt like I wanted to make every moment count in this character that is a mystery, really. And so I was really grateful to be given this like creative out, and I just kind of, I don't know, went with it.
I love it.
The very last scene we filmed of the pilot was Arielle in the hurricane.
Which, by the way, I grew up in Florida, so that was weird that I was like choosing to go in a hurricane for work.
You know, it was like midnight in Miami.
It was after our scene.
It was very.
That's what you did,
Yeah,
right? It was the last scene.
last
You're
thing we
absolutely
had.
right.
Very,
It was
very
super
last
late.
scene. And we
Yes.
had to create a hurricane for her to walk into, and she's screaming at the top of her, "Leave me alone!" It literally sounded like we were murdering
Yeah.
outside, and that was how we ended the pilot and the final shots of her being dragged away. And I remember looking at it and being like, "Oh my God, it looks amazing."
And it was-
real. It looked like a hurricane.
It was really funny because all the rest of the cast had finished, so they came out and they're like, "What's everyone doing? Why are you all being so dramatic?" And she's like, "Don't you see what we're doing?" I was like, "Oh, sorry, yeah, I'll leave you to it."
They were all
I'm
they
gonna
were
go
all
get a drink.
chilling.
Bye. Yeah.
They were warm.
I don't know if you can say at all. Can we expect to see her, even if it's just in flashbacks or that night, more
See?
throughout the series?
Yes.
I'm getting hot over here.
Yes,
I'm like-
we do. Of course, we tell that story over the course of the season, and you learn at least what happened that night, and you know who's behind it by the end of the season, and we do have flashbacks throughout of that character.
With more than just one character, might I tease?
Yeah, and it's much more complicated than you think from the pilot.
Ooh.
Yes, Guy was an employee at the hotel. She knew multiple people there, so there's you know, as you learn as that walk through at the end of the hotel, one of these people, we really do sort of go down a number of avenues and see what various people's relationships were with Sky and why they might have had a bone to pick with her. Yeah.
We will find out by the end of the first season who is responsible or what happened.
Yes.
Totally.
I'm trying to get a little for you guys. I don't know.
Going
I don't
straight for it.
know. Yeah. I gotta ask.
Totally. And a lot bigger twists and turns and complications. I think what Brian did so well in the pilot was leave us with this holy F moment. And every episode in the season has a big twist and turn or reversal or reveal that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Every character is a lot more complex and complicated and conflicted than you think, and there's tons of reversals, which I think is what makes the show so compelling.
I'm really into finding out more about Danny and Sky's relationship as brother and sister. Are we gonna? What can you guys tease about that and how close they were?
Do we hook up? No, I'm just kidding.
It's,
this show
it's
just
Game
took
of
a
Thrones
dark
in
turn.
Miami.
Too soon?
Season 2. There is, as I said before, there are a lot of factors involved with Sky and Danny. I will say that both Sky and Danny's presence at the hotel at different times had massive consequences for everyone involved. And there are new guests that come in, both for Sky on her timeline and mine, where it just takes a direction that you wouldn't expect. And as you do go through the season, even for us, it was really fun for the cast. I will say this: we had 11 series regulars and some amazing recurring guest stars. Katie Segal, Arielle, Freddie Stromer, Eva Longoria, who's an up and comer. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's
She's gonna do great things.
She'll do just fine. But what they did so well was, sometimes in shows when you have this many characters, it's very hard to service everyone and to keep your attention, especially as audience members. You want to find your one person that you go along with, and every single time a new script will come out, there would just be a new progression in one of the characters that you wouldn't expect, and manage to juggle everybody so that you stay with the show. Partly because Miami as a story and as a character is so interesting, but you care about every single one of these characters, even the ones at the start that might come across a bit strong and
Lovely.
strong and lovely. I was referring to Brian. I wasn't. She's gonna kill me later.
True Gigi fashion.
No, Gigi's good.
She's so good.
She is good.
She's so good.
She just loves her family.
Yeah.
I love my family.
Yeah.
I love my family.
On the brother-sister front, too, I can sense you guys not sure how much you can.
I was like, how do I go that way with this?
We could say that they have an untraditional childhood, which means that
We hooked up. I'm just kidding. You set me up for it. You really did.
Yeah. And Grand Hotel, unconventional.
I know.
untraditional childhood.
Yeah.
They ended up having to take care of each other, so that you get a sense of why he's so hell-bent
Yeah.
finding out where she is, what happened to her, why isn't she, responding to his text, why does this story that's been told of her having disappeared in this hurricane just feel so fishy and wrong to him. So we do learn a lot more about that.
I love it. I want to touch on guest stars because you guys touched on it. Obviously, Katie Segal is a big one. I saw that she'd actually tweeted saying that Gigi has a little bit of Gemma in her for all those Sons of Anarchy fans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
What do you guys think of that? I can see that.
Badass.
Okay.
Love it.
I like it. What can you guys talk about her character or Freddie's, or I know a little bit about Eva's? What can you guys say about guest stars?
Well, Katie has a very antagonistic, really fun arc.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen Katie Segal doing something like. Well, no, she has, but really, really interesting. She creates all kinds of issues with Santiago Mendoza. So she's very instrumental to the plot. Who else?
And they just go head to head.
They go
It's
head
really
to head.
fun to watch scenes of
Yeah.
those two together with her and Demian Bashir. And Freddie Stromo, you asked about from.
He's incredible, but he complicates things for other characters.
He plays a junior manager at a neighboring hotel that ends up being a rival hotel, and he becomes a rival in multiple ways this season, both business and romance. Yeah,
I see that side eye, Lincoln.
Yeah.
We're cool.
Giancarlo Canella.
Oh,
a guest
Giancarlo,
star,
oh
or
my
is he
God.
like more
He played El
recurring?
Rey.
Yeah.
He played.
Ray
Yep.
from the pilot.
Oh, yeah.
So this
Anybody knows Giancarlo here? Any Latinos here? No.
You will.
Oh, you will.
You will.
Well, he's very loved and adored and very well known in the Latino market. He's a singer, actor,
Dancer.
beautiful man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not terribly dissimilar from the guy in the pilot.
No, he's not like no.
He's fun. He's a lot.
Oh, that's funny. Don't tell him that. Giancarlo is a sweetheart. No.
But that storyline continues into the show where he's a performer for the hotel.
He's
doing,
really
like,
funny.
A residency at the hotel and creating problems.
I'm going to tell Giancarlo that. Brian said that you were very similar to a guy.
And also Eva's character playing Beatriz,
Yes.
the wife, the deceased wife of Santiago. First wife, matriarch of the hotel, is exciting. And it was also exciting because Roz and Demian and Eva all have a shared history together just as humans.
Yes.
And to see them act together, as different pairings, and then as the three of them was really exciting to watch over the course of the first season.
It was a dream. And Eva also directed 2 episodes.
While very, very pregnant.
Yes.
And she-
had the baby.
No.
No,
No,
leading up to it when she was producing.
She was
Yeah.
She was directing
Yep.
the second
months after
episode,
the baby.
2 months after having the baby, literally saying action, and the baby is breastfeeding.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
And then she'd walk over and she'd go, "Can you do this stunt
Multitask.
like this?" And I'm like, "Can you go sit down and have a rest?"
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
Like,
She's incredible. She's a
Yeah.
machine.
Superwoman. So can you talk a little bit about the relationship between Roselyn or between her and your 2 characters? And like,
Gigi and
yeah, because I mean, we know that they were
Tanen,
friends before.
Yeah,
they're past a little bit.
Okay. Beatrice is the first wife. I'm the second wife. We were best friends. So both families pretty much grew up together. So my kids, my twins, have known his kids since they were babies. And she passes away, and then Gigi gets involved. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. It's gonna be. Yeah, that's what people think. Exactly. It's a commonality in pain. He lost his wife. I lost my husband because my husband turned out to be a whatever that you guys will learn. And then we were both in pain. And then that happened. The what? But I know. And then we get together. So his kids have a big issue with Auntie Gigi because they used to love me as an auntie. Because they believe that I did that I just waited for the moment of something tragic to happen to just go in and marry into the family. And then you have to keep watching and see if that's the case.
We do get to see the scenes, though. We see Eva in
The 2 of them.
flashback. We see Roselyn in flashback. It's fun to do different looks too. They look different in the
It's supposed to
flashback.
be 13, 15, 20 years before, so you see.
instead
like,
of 21,
we're
obviously.
supposed to look younger. And they
That's always fun.
gave me short hair. I'm going, I actually think I look older. No, it was great. It was great.
Awesome. Love it. I want to talk a little about the directors too, because if I got this right, 7 of the 13 was directed by women. Is that correct?
7.
Can we just give that an applause? I mean,
And behind the scenes too,
Yeah.
both of our ADs were female. We had a female DP. We had a female stunt coordinator. Eva, as one of the founding members of Time's Up, really wanted to show the diversity, gender-wise and ethnicity-wise, both in front of and behind the camera. So I call it putting our money where our mouth is. It's something we do with every production, and it was exciting because it's what the world looks like. And not just 7 of 13 were female, and then I think 10 of 13 were either female or diverse.
It was really incredible. We were talking about it earlier, and I'm a recurring on the show, so I would come and go. And I remember my first day on set, I walked in and saw our female DP and our female AD and so many crew members that were female, along with this gorgeous cast of strong women. And I kind of reset for a minute. I was like, oh wow, that's so cool. And then I was like, oh wow, why am I so shocked? And I was like, oh wow, thank God you guys are doing this.
Yeah.
Because I realized it was the first time literally in my many years of doing this job that I had a female DP. And that alone was right there before we even started rolling. I felt different. And I was just so thankful to have that experience because it really taught me something. And, we fight for it so much in our everyday lives, but to actually be at work and be a part of something where it's happening, I don't know, it took me to a whole nother level. I was so, so grateful.
love it. It's amazing. Hopefully that's the start of many that are like that. I also want to ask Lincoln a little bit about Danny and Alicia's bond because I feel like
They
although
have
it's
each other.
off limits, I think that makes
Yeah.
it more exciting,
Oh,
right?
it's always very exciting when it seems like it's impossible. So they obviously come from two different walks of life. He works for her technically, and he is told from the start by Mrs. P, don't fraternize with the guests, and he ignores her. And Alicia is there because she's been away, obviously business school, and she wants to run the hotel. So Danny's there for his sister at the start. Alicia is there to run the hotel eventually, and then they run into each other and everything changes, and it's kind of what I was talking about before with the priorities. They're like, oh, we shouldn't do this, but I can't. It's kind of inevitable. And that was really fun to play with. Denise Tons, who plays Alicia, is a superstar. She's amazing. Every day we'd rock up on set and she's very fun and quirky, but she's so playful. So you get there and you'd think you'd know how the scene would go, and she'd just take it in another direction, which is wonderful to play against. But for them, I think hopefully it's a relationship that everyone roots for. They want to happen, like, you know, to come together against all odds. And I think it's a piece of brilliance by Brian and the writers.
The love story is
Yeah.
everything. You know, when you have a show like this, the main dish is the love story, and I believe that they were able to accomplish that so effectively. You know, like, I mean, I'm part of the show. I know every single episode, and to see them on screen, Denise and Lincoln, I just want them to kiss. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm so into it, and I even tell Eve all the time, if the love story works, you have a hit show. So.
I will say though, it's all very romantic until there's a thing called craft services, which I didn't know about, because in Australia we don't have this. Craft services.
Oh crap! I said
Sorry,
cross
craft.
surface. I'm cross surface.
Yeah, I got there and I was like, what's that? And Denise is like, it's heaven. I was like, okay. Anyway, she would go and eat these tuna sandwiches before our kissing scene.
She did that on purpose.
Oh yeah,
So
she was like, are
romantic.
we doing the scene? I was like, yeah, I just had heaps of mints. And she's like, I just had a tuna sandwich. I was like, I'm glad one of us is pulling the weight. That's great.
That was me with the meal with peanut butter. I love peanut butter. And
Yeah.
I'll be like, show me
Yeah.
peanut butter and going, I'm sorry that it's stinking peanut butter.
Every time I watch the pilot, and I've watched it probably hundreds of times by this point, there's that scene where they're in the pool and you know, they're looking at each other and you just want to go, you know, kiss. And they're previous to that, the scene where he tries to rescue her and she doesn't want it, and then he says, you know, I'm just gonna swim over here, and he takes off his shirt. We had to test the pilot for
course.
audiences at the beginning when ABC was making their decision about whether or not they wanted, you know, to make this into a series. And so there's an audience full of people. They've got these little dials in their hands. They say whether
So
they
stressful.
like,
So awkward.
whether they like at moment to moment. I like this. I don't like this, and they do that.
It's like Hunger Games.
And we had
Seriously.
a great test, and people got more and more invested as the show went on. But when that moment happened, when she sees him in the pool and he takes off his shirt, and it shows you like across the line, women and men both their dials, broke their machines. And then like 2 seconds later, the men realized what they'd done and turned their dial back to normal. Like, it was exciting, but not that exciting.
I didn't know that.
You guys remember the reaction? The reaction was brilliant. When he takes off her look, when she looks
Yeah.
at him like, I am.
Yeah.
At that moment, she realized, I am going to fall in love.
Yeah.
And it was so evident. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to go to audience questions. If anyone wants to ask Lincoln to like take his shirt off or anything like that.
He's a really good actor too.
I've been in Texas for a day. I'm not taking my shirt off. I've been eating a lot of ribs. Yeah.
Does anyone have questions? Right there in the middle.
So taking place in the hotel, did y'all have, and it being there for such a long time, are there any ghost stories?
Oh
Good
wow,
question.
that's a cool
Wow.
question.
We got to the pilot. We shot the pilot at the Fontainebleau. At the same time as us doing the pilot, it was Spring Break and Ultra Music Festival in the ritziest hotel in Miami. So there was a lot of things that I probably can't mention going on. I opened my curtains or blinds on the first day, and I remember looking out. This is all right. I remember I've been on a 30-hour kind of transit, so I didn't really know what was going on, and we had to get up at 3 a.m. for the call time. And I remember I'd never been to Miami, and I was sitting looking outside, and there's all these pools, which you saw, and there should have been no one out. But it was 4 a.m. at this point, and I just see this like naked figure coming out of a pool, and I thought I was tripping. Yeah, naked. Have I not told you this? Right. It was very funny. I was like sitting there, and I was like, "This is the jet lag. That's not real." And then I was like, "Oh no, it's a naked woman." And I was like, "Oh okay."
Was she hot?
Yeah. And then
It's Miami.
and then I didn't have to leave for set right away, so I was like, "I'll just sit here for a little bit." Another naked woman walked out, and I was like, "Okay, what's going on?" And then a third naked figure came out, and it was a dude, and I was like, "Ah!" Ruined it.
So no ghost stories, but just a lot of naked people.
He got ghosted. You see? You see?
I got ghosted. It was actually Brian.
We filmed the pilot at that hotel, and then we filmed the series in LA and built that hotel on a soundstage. So, so I mean, I think when we were filming this, we were like, how in the world are we ever going to take this? I mean, it looks enormous, right? And it's incredibly glamorous, beautiful, sexy location. How are we going to do this? And then our brilliant production designer, Steve Sacklad, did. So it looks just like that. It's unbelievable. Like the lobby, you're like, how is this on a stage? You will not be able to tell the difference.
You know, it's a true story. You know Jane the Virgin, right? So Jane the Virgin is great. Right. So their stages are next door to our stages in Manhattan Beach Studios. And then Jane the Virgin is also like a little hotel, right? It happens inside a hotel. And I remember some of the Yvonne Cole and Gina Rodriguez walking to our stage, which is massive, and they're like looking, going, now this is a hotel. We have a And
It's
I'm like, that was
huge.
so funny. It was great because it is grand. You feel like you're at a hotel.
Yeah.
It's really great.
I got the chance to see the next couple, and I will say I had no idea that it was a different location. So
Wow.
kudos to you guys. That's incredible. So insane. Yes, another question.
Yeah, you mentioned how you diverted from the original story, made it more modern, and changed up a lot of the family dynamics and stuff. Are we going to get to see the detective characters? They were kind of a really interesting piece.
Yeah, it's a fan of the original. Yes, a little bit.
Not as prevalent.
I would say it's less so than the original.
Yeah.
This is very much in the writer's room. We call it cozy mystery. It's a mystery being solved by someone whose job is not professional detective. So you really want to find out like how this person uses his resources to find out what happened to his sister. And then we do pull in the authorities sort of later into the season, but I would say less than the original.
Yeah.
I mean, also, just to build on that a little, like what the challenge in adapting it to modern times is the tropes in the original of the upstairs, downstairs, and you know, in the original, the waiter could change his outfit and no one would notice that he wasn't the waiter. It's like that stuff doesn't work anymore. So what I think Brian did really well is figure out how to update it and modernize it in a way where, I mean, one of the big things we did was flip the upstairs, downstairs. This is about a Hispanic family achieving the American dream, but it's not a Hispanic show, but it's a show where the Hispanic family owns this hotel and everything that the family's built is based on this beautiful place. So yeah.
To say that, and that felt really true to, I grew up in Miami. The population of Miami is something like 70% Latinx. So it just felt authentic to the place that this would be this family. And as a result, I think in our cast it's like 9 of 11 series regulars are people of color, and it's not a thing. It's just who these people are, and telling their stories. And for once in an upstairs downstairs story, the Latinx characters are the proprietors of the hotel, the hotel owners.
Love it. Do we have more questions? Yes, right here.
And what were some of the big challenges of adapting the original to and changing it all in this effort? Or were there any things that you thought, oh, we want to keep this from the original, and then couldn't?
Yeah, I mean, I loved the original so like and a lot, and I'm fan of that sort of thing, and Downton Abbey. So I was, just taking it out of that world of period was hard, and I feel like a lot of the twists on that show, you needed to come up with different things, especially if they're going to be fans of the original. You don't. I personally don't love just like a remake that follows the exact same path. If I already know exactly what's going to happen, so it was the hard part was just sort of reinventing a little bit. But we had a blast. I loved the second we had the characters, we knew who the people were. They just kind of started telling their own stories.
We have more questions? Yes, right here.
As the show is built on mystery and a lot of characters' intentions are portrayed one way and might be revealed later on to be something different, as actors, are you given the full story, or is it more script to script? Like, how do you kind of know how you're part of that?
Well, I found out a huge thing about my character at the very end. Huge.
I think it was script to script. Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't
Every now and
reveal
then,
that.
you guys would go like, "Why am I?
Yeah.
What's happening here?" And then we would have like private conversations
Yeah.
with the actors about like, here's some backstory pieces you need to know, especially for Roselyn and Demian, about the backstory of their relationship and the relationship with Eva Longoria's character and how that all played out, so they would know why there were these mysterious moments. There's a moment in an episode early on where Gigi talks to Mrs. P. That's Wendy Raquel Robinson, who I love and is amazing on the show. Her part gets increasingly more important as the season goes on, and they talk about the kids seem to be asking a lot of questions about what happened to their mom, and that might not be a good thing for them to be looking into. There's like layer and layer upon mystery that we do as the season moves on.
And you know what's interesting? The approach of actors. Like, I'm a person that I would like to know as much as possible, but sometimes you have to respect the showrunner's process, and they reveal whatever they want to reveal. Wendy Raquel, which plays Mrs. P, she's the opposite. She doesn't want to know anything.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to know anything. She wants to have it revealed when she reads the material, and she doesn't ask any questions about, because for whatever reason she feels that that's going to contaminate the acting.
Yeah.
So it's just different ways of approaching
It was very funny. We'd always have table reads for the new episode, and I think we had all read it, but every single episode, Wendy would be like, "What?" And we'd be like, "Shh." It's so funny. She gets so
that I
invested.
couldn't
She'd be
stop
like, "Oh
laughing
my
because she had a
God."
reaction to something. Oh my God, I just heard the whole
you'd
table
lose
because
it.
she's that funny.
But-
I'm like, you're crazy.
The other thing that I really loved about not just my character, but every character in being a part of this show was like, there's mystery upon mystery upon mystery. So like, I feel like a lot of times if my character has some sort of secret or mystery that's going to be revealed in the season, it's like that one thing. And my character alone has like 3 major mysteries. Like, so it just keeps unraveling. And, that's just us being human. And everyone has secrets. Everyone protects themselves from certain things. And so I kind of liked the fact that in doing this and getting these scripts and finding out as we went along, you guys continue to break my own mold or idea of like, oh, well, I already got my mystery. I know what mine is. And I was like, oh, shit, I have more. It keeps going, which is like real life.
I think what's great about the show is you talk about it being mystery, which it is, but it also, I talk about mystery in the sense of unraveling each of these characters, and every character has a secret or something they're not telling themselves or something they're not telling anyone other. And the season is full of juicy reveals as we unravel and unpeel the onion of who each character is and what they're hiding from each other.
One thing that was funny to me too, because it's TV, you're writing it quickly. You're making 13 little movies over a course of a short period of time, and so we had a roadmap for where this mystery was going, and we stuck to it. And I'll say that I find the finale very satisfying, and the mystery is we peel back all these layers throughout the season, but we didn't know every piece of every detail, so we would come up with things as we went as well. And I remember getting an email from Demian at one point saying, "Brian, like what's happening next with this, so I know how to play this," and I was like, I I don't know. And he was like, this is weird. Yeah, it's a little weird, but like this is what.
And he's like me, he likes to know
He likes to know,
everything.
yeah. So he thought it was pretty weird. Yeah, it was.
You're like, you tell me what you want to happen.
But also, I think, Brian, you were really deliberate about not wanting, in a way like Wendy acts, not wanting a character to know too much because it would contaminate how they played the scene.
It keeps it refreshing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want people to start playing what you're going to reveal
Yeah.
2 episodes later.
Right.
So you keep it from don't tell them anything.
And then they hate you.
I think we have time for one last question. Is there another question up here? Oh yeah, here you go. Go ahead.
Sort of like to your point of what you said about how you didn't kind of see the end all the way through. You were kind of, it was evolving. When it evolves like that, how do you know when you're making a decision that that's like true to life for the story? Because you haven't thought it all the way through, so you're making these many decisions. How do you know when each decision is like that's right for the moment? Because you know it could change. So
Yeah.
How do you know? How do you feel that?
Yeah, I would say like on the bigger pieces, like what happened that night, and who is the person whose hands you see there, and who's chasing Sky down the hallway, and all these things. We had a game plan from the start. The writers, we all met, we talked about it. We had an idea, and we knew we wanted it to develop a little differently than the original. So there's twists and turns that are different, significantly different from the original. But I think your question is right, because oftentimes you can break story from a place of plot, like this is what I want to happen, but frequently what will happen is the characters are in an emotional place, and stories tend to be a little better when they come from a place of like, this person was left feeling this way at the end of the last episode, like what is their next step, what would they do in real life, how do they feel, and who would they interact with, and then you start telling stories from a place of character. So that just started informing us as we went down the path.
Also, I had to do the hurricane scene more than once.
You know, this is the first time that we see it in the big screen with an audience. They have seen it 100,000 times.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we actually see it, and we appreciate the laughs, and we appreciate that you're here, and it seems like you guys enjoyed it, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Woohoo. All right, guys, just a last reminder, no spoilers on social media because you want everyone to have that exciting reaction like you all had and like I have every time I watch it. Thank you so much to the cast and the creatives for coming
Thank
out.
you. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you guys for being here.